You ever have one of those mornings where you just don't want to get out of bed? You're warm under the covers, but you know the second you step out, that cold air is going to hit you, and it's going to be brutal. Well, that was me. Every single morning when I first moved to Vancouver as a kid, the cold here was no joke, especially for someone like me, who had just moved here from a much warmer place. And it wasn't just the weather. Everything felt different. New city, new school, new people, and a language I barely understood. I remember my first day in school, feeling completely lost. My teacher was talking, but it was like she was speaking another language. I looked around, and all the other kids seemed to know exactly what they were doing. Meanwhile, I felt like I was behind an invisible wall, watching from the outside. So I started to think, what am I doing wrong? And that's when I realized that everything was different for me. Fitting in was always a challenge. And the truth is, it's easy to feel like you're the only one that is struggling. So many families move to a new place thinking it'll be a fresh start, only to find themselves caught between the excitement of something new and the pressure of fitting in. Many people, especially young people, the pressure to conform can feel overwhelming. And that's what I want to talk about today. The pressure we feel to fit in, the mental barriers we create in our minds, and how we can truly break free from these mental barriers we create and truly embrace who we are. That's where I found myself for a long time. No matter what I did, I felt like I was trying to adapt, to adjust, to try to be like everyone else around me. And however, the feeling of not quite fitting in was always there, quietly whispering to the back of my mind. I started asking, well, what am I doing wrong? Why does everyone else seem so comfortable? It wasn't just about language or culture, or even the cold. It was about no matter how hard I tried, I was never a part of the group. But what if I tell you that the real issue isn't just about language or culture? What if the real issue is about the stories that we keep telling ourselves? And this isn't just a personal story. Research backs this up. In one survey, over 70% of people admitted that they felt like they don't belong in a room full of their peers at some point in their lives. 70%. Imagine this. Whether it's social pressure, workplace expectation, or even just trying to navigate daily life, people seem to feel that they were on the outside, and the feeling is real. And this isn't just about individual experiences. The ripple effect is huge. Take workplace, for example. In one recent study, employees who felt like they didn't belong or they aren't valued are 50% more likely to underperform or leave their jobs within the first year. It's not because they lack skill or talent or they felt cold, but it's because they're trapped in this negative cycle of trying to fit into an environment that does not feel welcoming or accepting. Think about how much potential is lost when people are too focused on trying to fit in rather than bringing their true selves to the table. Think about it. We all know someone, a friend, a family, a colleague, or even it's ourselves, someone who is brilliant but holds back because they're too focused on trying to fit into a mold that was never meant for them. And you know what surprises me when I look back? After all that pressure to fit in, the place I once feared, the place I thought I would never belong, is now the place that I call home. It's funny how life works out that way. So all of this got me thinking, is there an actual solution to this, or am I just being lucky by sheer luck? This is what I realized. Fitting in, it's It's overrated. The more we try to be like everyone else around us, the more we lose what makes us us. It took me a while, but I eventually realized that the key to feeling like you belong isn't about being what you think other people want you to be. It's about embracing who you already are. Now think about it. Think about the people who stand out in any rooms. They aren't the ones who blend in. They're the ones who stand out because they're authentic, they're real, and they're not afraid to show their true selves, even if it's different from the norm. And once I stopped trying to change myself to fit in, I started feeling more comfortable. I started to focus on the things that made me unique, on what I could bring to the table that no one else could. It's not about being better than anyone else. It's about owning my strength, my quirks, and my experiences, and realize that these were the things that made me valuable. I realized that these were the things that made me who I am. And once we start to recognize that being different isn't something to hide, but something to embrace, when we realize that being different, coming from another place, having a new perspective, is an asset, it's not a weakness, the mental walls we create in our minds start to come down. We've all seen the consequences of this. We've all seen the consequences of when people feel like they don't belong, feel like they aren't valued, they don't bring their best selves to the table. And when people feel like they are valued for who they are, they thrive. And when they thrive, we all benefit. So I believe this is the solution to this dilemma, the issue that many of us face when we feel like we don't belong. So, what can we do? Whether you're a student, an employee, or someone who's been living in Vancouver your whole life, we can all take away something from this. Start paying attention to the labels you've been given, whether it's from society or yourself. Ask yourself, are these labels holding me back? Or I can challenge them. Instead of seeing your differences as something to hide, see them as strength. And most importantly, whether you're a teacher, a manager, or you're just a friend, start to think that how you can create spaces where people can feel valued for who they really are, not just how well they fit in. As I stand here today, I am reminded of how far I've come. But I also know that the journey isn't over for myself or others like me. So I leave you with this. Be brave enough to embrace your differences and know that your uniqueness is your strength. For it's your individuality that brings something truly remarkable to this world. Thank you very much.